back again for another lesson, flipped version. So today, talking about telling time. Yesterday or previously, you watched a video about a little bit of school schedules, classes you have, classes other people have using forms of haben. Okay, so now we're going to be able to talk about what time you have those classes, what time it actually is. So telling time, a couple things you need to know. 24-hour system, all right? Military time is what we call it. So here in the United States, we work on the 12-hour system. We use AM, PM. Germany, 24-hour system. So what that means is once we get to noon or the middle part of the day, everything else that's in PM, we add 12 to it. So if it's 1 PM, 13, 2 PM, 14, 3 PM, 15, so on and so on. All right? And we'll get lots of practice with this. Okay, so it's up here, anything PM, add 12 for hours. So whatever the hours is that's PM, add 12 to it. That's the number you're working with. If we want to ask what time it is, okay, what time is it or how late is it? A couple examples we have up here. Wie viel Uhr ist es? Wie viel Uhr ist es? Okay, what time is it? Next one, how late is it? Another way that we can ask what time is it. Wie spät ist es? Wie spät ist es? So two questions, very common questions that you'll use to ask for what time is it. Okay, an answer that you can give. The answer, this one will always be correct. As long as you use this the right way, spell things correctly, put it in the right order, this one will always be correct. Okay? So if there's only one way you know how to tell time, make it this way. Because this one is always correct. We say es ist, we put the hours, in German of course, the word for Uhr, and then our minutes. If we translate that, we're saying it is however many hours, o'clock, and then our minutes. Okay, so let's do a quick example of this. And we're going to use an AM time so we don't have to worry about adding 12 to our hours. Okay, so hopefully you can see this over here. 7:20 AM is what we're talking about. 7:20 AM. So all you have to do using this, es ist, our hours. How many hours do we have? 7 is our hours, so we need to put 7 in there. So es ist 7 Uhr. It's 7 o'clock, and then we need our number for how many minutes we have. So there's our minutes, 20. So then we put our 20 in there. Es ist 7 Uhr 20. Es ist 7 Uhr 20. Okay? So this gives you a little bit of an idea on the basics of telling time. Okay? So now I'm going to erase this and I'm going to give you some words that will come in handy when we're putting some things together. Okay, in English, we have some words that will be useful in German. These are the 4 words that we use when we're talking about telling time. All of them are important. Show you kind of how to use them here in just a second. First, I'll give you the German translation. The word for after that we will use is nach. Nach. Before, we use the word for, V-O-R. Remember the V makes the F sound. So for. Quarter. Viertel. Viertel is our word for quarter. And then our word for half, halb. Okay? So, One last thing for a couple of these, knock. We only use knock 1 to 29 minutes. So 7:01 to 7:29, it's 1 after 7 through it's 29 after 7. Before, we will say 31 to 59 is where we'll use before, right? So when it's 7:31, it's 29 minutes before 8. Or if it's 7:55, it's 5 minutes before 8. And we'll get some practice seeing those again as well. Quarter, of course, 15, 45, 15, quarter after, 45, quarter before. Last one, how, and this one can be a little tricky. So if we're talking about 7:30 a.m., okay, think about this as a decimal. 7:30 as a decimal. When we put it in a decimal, we get 7.5. Okay? So using your math smarts, right, from your math class, when we have 0.5 or higher, what do we do with a number? We round it up. Okay? So that's what we're going to do here. In German, we always go to the next hour. So when we're writing this out, right, we're still going to start every time expression that you write, or when you're telling the time, all of them are going to start with es ist. So if we're doing 7:30, how? That's the next word that we're going to have. So it is half of, and what's our next hour? After 7 comes, of course, 8. Es ist halb acht. That means it's 7:30. Okay? And of course, you can still say es ist 7:30, like we had in the last example that I had up here. Whatever way you're more comfortable is fine. Sometimes I'm going to ask you to do it more than one way. Okay? So being able to use some of these words as well as the original one that I showed you, the one that's always correct, both of those are going to be very important. Okay? So make sure you're taking notes on this. You will get a handout that you'll get some practice actually writing time expressions down. So use these notes, use this video to help you do that.